Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
It's time for the Bonnie Sher Show, a whirlwind of wit, wisdom, celebrity, and the boomer life. With a little bit of this and a lot of that and so much more you don't want to miss, here's Bonnie.
Well, hello and welcome, and I thank you for joining me today on the Bonnie Sher Show. First thanks is to Wayne Cobham for my super duper theme song. I am Bonnie Sher, your host, and I will be guiding you through the world of celebrity, the world of the boomer life, and the world of type 1 diabetes. So, today's guests are actor, producer, playwright, generally very funny man and very nice guy, and that would be Brad SLAIGHT. And Bob Hawkinson will be joining us as my Type 1 co-host. So if you have a question or a comment, please follow the hashtag BSherRadio. That's # BSHER radio on Twitter. So now settle in and please say hello to my first guest, Brad SLAIGHT.
Nice.
Nice, huh?
This is an amazing crowd. It is.
They're all here to see you, Brad.
Hi there.
Hi.
No autographs.
Yeah, Brad.
And doesn't the city look great today? Tonight. This afternoon. It's very, the smog makes it a little dark, but it's a beautiful city, and I love every moment of it.
And you come from where originally?
I come from Michigan originally.
That's probably why.
Yeah. Well.
No, I love the state of Michigan. I don't mean that. Love Michigan. It's really cold in Michigan. Brad, what's up with you, my dear?
Yes.
What are you doing?
What am I doing? Well, I was here a couple weeks ago, so I've just been...
I knew you looked familiar.
I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed in my car because I found a parking spot. I'm not giving it up.
That's my kind of work.
It is.
You are a multi-talented, multi-hyphenate kind of guy, as an actor, writer, producer, comedian. What are the advantages and disadvantages of doing so many things?
I can hire and fire myself at will.
That would be first.
I cut out the middleman by rejecting my own self. That's what I do. Now, I found as a performer, especially as a writer-performer, that it opens up a lot of things. A lot of actors, a lot of comedians. Comedians write their own material, but actors are dependent on other people to advance their career. They cast in a play. They get a video. They want to make a video. They have to go through all these hoops or go audition. Mm-hmm. And so by doing many things, here's my attitude of being in show business, and I'm sure you'll agree. It's like being a Hoover vacuum cleaner. You have to have a lot of attachments, but you can't suck. That's my attitude. That's my motto. And hopefully I don't suck.
And he's sticking to it.
Yes, I am.
Okay. What prompted you to start writing and producing?
Well, when I moved out to Hollywood, I started in an improv group. We started doing sketches, and I found, everybody writes. All through my life, you write, and I did some things. But when I started writing sketches, I thought, wow, this is a great forum. You get to, and as a performer, you're a better writer, I believe. Somebody asked me once, how do I become a playwright? I said, well, playwrights are nerds. And no, because they sit in their little corner and they type up their little stuff, and they really don't have a sense of how that's going to play. And I know how to play.
I wonder if Tennessee Williams would agree, but
You'd be
what kind of stuff he was
Yeah.
playing with.
right.
Can you tell me about some of your current projects?
I am working, well, on several things. I mean, every day I just got done auditioning for something. So there's ongoing, I have an agent, I go out on auditions, but I can talk about my own generated projects. And I'm doing a couple of web series. One is a one-man thing I do called the 1 Minute News Hour, where I do topical stories, and I'm the host, and then
Throw away that question. Okay.
Well, no, you
No.
can ask me more about it later.
Okay,
The
no.
other project I'm doing is I do a comedy duo with another guy named Buzz Belmondo, who was on the show Out of This World and Baywatch. He's a very funny guy. And we do a comedy duo, so we transferred that into a web series called Carl and Buzz Go to Hell. I play Carl Bradley, a former network executive, and he's Buzz Belmondo, a Filipino-American performer. And I don't know how we get together, but we're in hell, and we broadcast from hell, which is redundant in Hollywood.
And is this on the web?
You can find it on Funny or Die. You can find my 1 Minute News Hour on Funny or Die, and either I'm funny or I'm going to die over there.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure before anything creepy happens that you go to Funny or Die.
Yes.
Is there one aspect or a project in your career that you wish that you could revisit or possibly change, and why?
Interesting that you mentioned that, because I am revisiting something. I wrote a play called L.A. River Anthology. I don't know if you're familiar with Edgar Lee Masters' Spoon River Anthology, but it took place in a cemetery in a small town. This is L.A. River Anthology. It takes place in the Hollywood Hills. And one night a year, all of these spirits come out of their grave, and they don't just talk. They whine and bitch about show business. And it's a parody of Spoon River Anthology, and I'm going to do it next year, close to when the Academy Awards are on.
I love it. If you need a sidekick, you let me know.
I
That
will.
sounds like my kind of fun. See how I just worked that right
You
in
really,
there?
really
Yeah.
have a good segue ability.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. If you could only label yourself, if you will, as one thing, actor, writer, voiceover actor, which one would you be and why?
I would label myself successful, but to get to your question, I would prefer, and I usually always prefer, to be known as an actor. I love doing stand-up comedy. I've done it for many years. I love writing to a certain extent. Writing is a little harder. You don't get to put on another character and play. You have to sit there and sweat it out. So I would say actor.
You're a fabulous actor, so I'm loving that choice. Have you read any books lately that you just think are wonderful and you'd like other people to read? Anything jumping to your mind?
Books?
A book.
Yeah, Bonnie, I stopped reading books when the internet started. I read everything online now. I'm like the mindless multitude
That's
that are
okay.
out
I
there.
probably wrote that question before the internet, too.
That's funny.
Had that one around for a while,
I used to read a
guess.
lot of books, but I tell you, we spend so much time on the internet, digitally, reading things everywhere we go. I don't particularly care for, every time you go to a page, a video pops up. I want to read it myself. So the reading I do even creatively, I'll go on there and I'll read books, online, so to speak. But this is a digital age, Bonnie. Books have their place.
I still like books.
Well, I'm
I
sure
like to smell
most
them.
people
I
do.
like
What?
to. Oh, I do. I like the smell of a book. I especially like to. I do. I have strange olfactory.
They kick you out of Barnes
hallucinations.
& Noble? Lady on aisle 4 sniffing chapters.
That's why I changed my hair color. It's true. It's true. For our audience, if you didn't catch the episode when Brad was here before, Brad came in as his diabetes self, known as D Hero, or Brad of the Diabetes Heroes Squad people. So you're not seeing double, and no, this is not a twin. This is a man who makes us laugh and at the same time has such an incredible heart. And what he's doing for the T1D community, I just wanted to personally.
Even with diseases, I can make people laugh.
That's the best time to do it.
No, it is. It's, and the thing is, I always tell people, diabetes, they go, there's always going to be somebody out there that says, you're making fun of it. No, it isn't making fun of it. It's a matter of, I don't think diabetes is funny, but I do think the human condition that we're placed can be funny. And the everyday things we have to go through, I find the human condition in the humalog condition of finding things in diabetes because comedy empowers you. I mean, I'm not the first one to say that. It's a release physically. It's good exercise. So I don't go to the gym anymore. I just laugh my butt off. And the doc says, you're exercising? Yes, I laughed
See,
like
that's
hell
what
this
happened
morning.
to mine. I laugh at you. My butt's gone.
I lost my ass in the stock market. But there's many ways to do it, Bonnie. Anyway, so when it comes to diabetes, it isn't a matter of laughing at it. It's laughing with it. And like any other community, any other thing that if it's yours, you can make fun of it. Other people make fun of it, I'm not so happy about it.
Right.
That's right.
Well, I have some other questions I'd like to ask, which I will remember as soon as I grab this card. So hold on one more second.
Well,
Sorry about that, my dear.
All the great talk show hosts have their cheat notes.
And I must be really great
You
because
are
I have
great.
lots of notes. I read this about you, and I thought it was pretty groovy.
She wasn't my child, right? No.
You're not old enough.
Oh.
What does your daily creative process look like?
Go to Starbucks and look at the losers and go, I don't want to become that. That's the morning. Afternoon, I take a long nap. Evening, I think about the nap I just took and think about taking another one. Nighttime, that's when my muse hits me. And that's when everybody else in the building I live in shuts the hell up for a change. And now, we all are. You're an artist. We get hit at different times with different things. And, you just have to go. You can't follow regimen. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can sit down every morning, okay, from 8 to 10, I'm going to write something. But it may not be there. It may take all kinds of things to get you going, or it may just come at the weirdest time. As a matter of fact, I got to go write some jokes right now. Excuse me. Just kidding. So that my process, to seriously answer you, every day, you really as an artist have to work on something. You may reject it later, but it's a discipline like any other form. You have to get up and you have to do it. You can't sit and wait for the phone to ring.
That's the other D word, though.
Discipline.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I've learned from being a diabetic, is I had to channel my inner discipline, which up until that, I mean, even now I still work on that as a constant thing. So anybody who can really do that, I say bravo.
It doesn't always come, but you should at least try.
But
it must
have come at least, right? It must have come at least 10 times that I'm reading about right now. So let me ask you this. How did it feel when you had your first play published by Samuel French? And how many have there been?
It was a big deal. I wrote a couple of one-acts, and I thought, these aren't bad, but I was a high school teacher for 2 years, and I felt that there was a need for good literature, or good plays for young people. Because everybody, they was doing Our Town and Aaron Slick from Pumpkin Creek, and those are fine plays. But, I mean, God, a kid, a 16-year-old, spray painting their hair gray and playing Editor Webb is not really the best experience that they can particularly relate to. Right. So the 2 one-acts I wrote were about high school students, that forum. And I sent them to Samuel French, and I thought, yeah, this will happen. And they wrote back and said, we love them. We'd love to publish them. And from that point on, I chose that market, the young market, not only because there's a need for it, because I never grew up. That's part of the problem. And I still think like a teenager. And my therapist is working me through that. But
as long as you can pay like an adult.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, very good.
You're very welcome. Yeah, you can. I share with my friends. Not my insulin, but very protective. So, what do you think is going to happen in terms of? Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm running over myself. You mentioned it before, and I'd like to talk about it a little bit more. And that is the project that you've been working on, which is about your 1 minute news hour.
The 1 minute news hour, because when news breaks, I glue that shit back together. That's my tagline for it. Because somebody has to. It's a comedy show, obviously, and I take stories that are real news stories I don't do it every week, but when I do it, it's stuff that's happening that week, and I make a joke about it. For instance, I started this as just an experiment. And it kind of picked up some steam, and I'm getting a bit of a following. It's not viral yet, but it's one of those things where whatever happens in the news, like for instance, if I'm doing one this week, I'll do a joke about the new James Bond movie's opening, Spectre. James Bond's getting a little old because during a car chase scene, he left his turning signal on the entire time. So it's a story in the news this week, but it's real. And you never know.
Who knew?
Yeah, who knew that he would do that? I'm going to get that son of a bitch. Shake me, I'm stirring.
What are some
Betty White's a Bond girl. What?
I don't know what else to say after that one. That's quite a visual for me.
She used to be Pussy Galore. All right.
Who wasn't?
Pussy no more. All right.
I can't even go there.
I shouldn't. It's a nice show, and this is G-rated. This is a Disney Channel, isn't it?
Yeah, right. I don't know. They had a beaver on NBC
What?
this morning. They did.
Oh, that's what she said.
Yeah, well, it was, Kathy Lee and Hoda had a beaver on.
Yeah.
So they were all excited about showing their beavers.
Who hasn't
so
seen Kathy Lee's beaver?
I don't think she's seen it. Anyway.
Hoda.
Hody. She calls her Hody.
Hody.
Hody Hada. Right. Laugh some more. I love it when you laugh. You have
My
the
laugh?
best
I have the weaseliest nasal laugh I've ever. I hate my laugh, but I'm glad somebody likes it.
What am I going to say? I hate it. You'll never do my show again.
Laugh and the whole world laughs with you. Unless you're
Ask
watching
for money and you do it alone, right?
Ooh, thank you. Good.
I'm sorry.
I like it. We should do a comedy team.
I think we are.
I should deem ourselves to do a team.
I've never done a team action. I've been a solo act, but I'd love to do more.
I do
comedy.
a solo act every night, if you know what I mean. I won't go there.
Don't get around much anymore.
I'm gonna write a book about that. It's gonna be a handbook about that subject.
Oh no.
Put it in the shape of a hand. Then I'd read.
Look at that smile. Is that the best? Brad, thank you for coming back and being on my show again and letting everybody know how truly terrific you really are. I want everybody put on those shows, watch him, write about him, follow him. Tell us again, how does the audience follow you other than with like 10 feet in between?
With pitchforks and torches. The audience can follow me on funnyordie.com and just put in Brad SLAIGHT. It'll take you right to my page that has all my episodes of the 1 Minute News Hour. Or you can just look at other stuff on there by Will Ferrell, somebody who's really famous.
Another Ferrell joke.
Oh, a Ferrell joke. Very good.
Sorry about that. Yeah. All right. Before we go to break, Brad, it was a pleasure, truly a pleasure to have you here with me again today. Let's do this again.
Let's do lunch. You can't do a Hollywood show without saying something like that.
No, you really can't. But I'm going to have to. And I am going to tell you now that you are listening to the Bonnie Sher Show. Join the conversation. Follow the headline. Wrong, Bonnie. Follow the hashtag. Be Sher Radio on Twitter. Coming up, Inside My Blue World. And then a shout from my soapbox. So that would be my take on who gets it right and who should be ashamed for getting it so terribly wrong. So let's go to break with one of my favorite tunes that really sort of sums up how I'm feeling today. And that song is Judy Garland's When the Sun Comes Out.
When the sun comes out and the rain stops beating on my window pane, when the sun comes out, there'll be bluebirds round my door, singing like they did before. That old storm broke out, and my man went off and left me in the rain. Though he's gone, I doubt if he'll stay away for good. I'd stop living if he would. Love is funny. It's not always peaches, cream, and honey. Just when everything looked bright and sunny, suddenly the storm clouds came. I'll never be the same till the sun comes out and the rain stops beating on my window pane. If my heart holds out, let it rain and let it pour. There'll be bluebirds round my door. Life is funny. It's not always peaches, cream, and honey. Just when everything looked bright and sunny, suddenly the storm clouds came. I'll never be the same till the sun comes out and the rain stops beating on my window pane. If my heart holds out, let it rain and let it pour. It will not be long before there's a knocking at my door, and you know the man I love walked in when the sun comes
And welcome back to the Bonnie Sher Show. Let's say hello to my T1 guest and co-host who is calling in today from the state of Florida. His name is Bob Hawkinson. Welcome, Bob.
Oh, thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate that. It's nice to be here.
Well, I appreciate you joining me. Bob, you're a type 1 diabetic. Can you tell us a little bit about your story, please?
Sure. Can I still say I'm a juvenile diabetic?
If
When
I
was
can,
diagnosed.
if I can, you can.
Yeah. So I was about 9 months old when I was diagnosed. I'll be 53 in about a month. So I've been diabetic just about 52. A little over 52 years. Was on the needle for 30, been on the pump about 22, been on a CGMS for, 7 or 8. Just have always found that, it is what it is. You just deal with it, you manage it, you do the best you can, and, there's no cure except for what I'm doing to myself right now. If I take great care of myself, then hopefully by the time that there is a cure, I'll be in good shape and it'll be a good thing. Other than that, I'm sort of my own cure, but just by staying with good A1Cs and good numbers and staying, as I call in the zone, staying in the middle.
So obviously, if you were 9 months old, you probably don't remember a whole lot about those early days.
I do not.
No, I was an old lady of 15, so I have, better recall of that. But I guess it didn't get in the way of you ordering your bottle or anything.
That's right, absolutely. I'll take seconds, please. Thank you.
Let me ask you this. How has the ride been overall in terms of, I mean, I can see that you take good care of yourself by your photo. You look to be in great shape, you Floridian you. And, but
Well,
has it been that way all along? Have you had a pretty easy, absent any great complications, I guess is what I call easy.
Right.
Have you faced any complications?
Well, yeah, growing up as a kid, I think I only knew one other type 1 diabetic in my whole school. Growing all the way through high school, there was one other girl in high school that had it. I have a school of 2,000 people, so I didn't know many other people with it. I didn't know what I was, if it was an issue. We didn't have advocates at that point, other than your doctor and your mother going, "Hey, do this." When I was about 30, the reason I went on a pump is my doctors kept telling me how wonderful I'm doing. And then I went to Disney World one day and was looking at a white wall and saw this spider web run across there. I was like, what was that? So I go and see the retinologist, and he says, you need to get laser surgery. I was like, wait a minute. I can't be. I'm the model diabetic. So I went in, and they did, I guess, turn my eye to Swiss cheese, but oddly enough, my vision's been very good. Matter of fact, I last year when it was time to renew my license, I was telling my wife, I said, it seems really odd because I've worn glasses since I'm 13, I guess, and on my driver's license, I always had to have a thing that said, requires driver's license or glasses to drive. But I went to take the test, and I see, my eyes are doing pretty good. She goes, well, try it without it. So I passed the driving test without having to wear glasses for the first time in my entire life. I thought, well, this is interesting. So,
well, you know what they say makes your vision better, don't you? No, all right, I'm not going there. That was my last segment. I'm sorry. I just got carried away. Who knew?
That's funny. I do have 5 children. So, it's been probably like everybody else. You got your ups and downs. You got your ins, your outs. But so far I've been highly blessed that I had a mother who was very aggressive in not only teaching me how to do it, but teaching me, she didn't complain about it. She just said, Bob, this is what you got. Go make the best of it. And
I didn't have that mother, Bob. It's interesting.
No? Okay, well, I was lucky.
Sounds like it. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, not at all.
So now, I was doing a little bit of research at 1 o'clock this morning, and I came up with some interesting facts about you. Are you the same Bob Hawkinson who wrote the book about diabetes?
Yeah, I wrote a book called The Joy of Diabetes.
Tell us about that, would you please?
Yeah, so what I've figured out, over the years, I would always have people coming up to me and saying, hey, my uncle, brother, sister, cousin, mother, father is diabetic, and they're not taking care of themselves, and they're driving me crazy, and I don't know what to do about it. And I just kept hearing it over and over and over. And they're like, can you please talk to them? Okay. So what I ultimately found was, when people are making those decisions, it's because they either don't know any better or they don't want. They got to want to. If you want to have really good control, first of all, you have to want to, because nobody else can do that for you. So you got to jump in, you got to take charge, and you got to want to do that. And so the whole concept is that when you do that, it's like my wife, before we got married, first thing she said to me, was talking about I'm diabetic. She goes, so if your blood sugar's in the normal range, you're kind of like everybody else then, huh? And I go, huh. Yeah, that's kind of right. so,
Yeah, it could, it
so
could
yeah,
be
it
a
was
totally
kind of
different personality. I myself have about 18. So I
That's funny.
certainly
Yeah,
understand that.
so I like, I enjoy humor in life. I've been self-employed since I'm 19. I used to do improv comedy around town for fun with a group. I'm very creative. have 4 patents. I've got 3 pending. I run an inventors group here in town.
I saw that. I also saw that you have a product on the market having to do with lawn care, and I'm telling you, I am the least grassy person you'll ever know, but I'm willing to learn. What is this that I have seen?
Okay, so interestingly enough, I'm in license talks, and we think we're going to launch in California here very soon. We're actually going to the Green Show in San Francisco next week, and it is. So what we've done is, if you've ever laid bag mulch, which you may not have if you've never done lift yard care.
I do it every day. I have a mulching outfit. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what happens is people, when they lay the mulch, they use a plastic bag of mulch. You dump the bag out, and you throw that bag away. Well, that bag is typically not recyclable. It's a single-use polyethylene, and that's repeated billions of times a year. And those go to the dump, and they don't degrade. So we've made a bag out of bioplastics that is soil degradable. The bag itself, when you set it in the bed, it's got a perforation system. You just fold it open flat, push the mulch over it, and the bag becomes a weed barrier that ultimately biodegrades.
See, who knew? Good for you. I love this. You see, I really do believe that we type 1s do get special abilities. My grandson is convinced I'm a superhero. and Bob, I think you're one too. And I'm just so pleased that you wrote to me and we hooked up this way. And here you are today as my co-host. So what I am going to do now is I am going to play my I know what I'm going to play. I'm going to play hooky.
Absolutely.
This is my weekly share. This is Inside My Blue World. And we are all going to take a listen to this together. And then, Bob, you and I are going to chat about it because I'd like to get your thoughts. So let's have a listen.
Well, I appreciate that. Let's do it.
Hello, and welcome to the My T1 Group podcast, Inside My Blue World. I'm your host and type 1 diabetes crusader, Bonnie Sher. This is my weekly share, headlines from around the globe and across the net. Some will pique your interest, inspire you, or frankly just tick you off. But all are topics for discussion with our diabetes care team and the T1D community. You can find the links on my blog at bonnieshare.com. This week, Tresiba, a long-acting insulin drug from Novo Nordisk with so much promise at a premium price. Gee, that's a surprise. My first headline share is from World News Now. Tresiba, new diabetes drug, was approved by the FDA. My second share, Novo Nordisk counting on the new diabetes drug Tresiba to dominate, is from TheStreet.com and features an interview with Novo's U.S. Chief Medical Officer. My last share, by way of Business Insider, Novo Nordisk to end German sales of new insulin drug after price row. Gives me a sense of Big Pharma's priorities. How about you? That's my weekly share. For the links to these headlines, please visit my blog at bonnieshare.com. Until we connect again, may your A1Cs be low and your resilience high. So, what do you think about this new drug, and as well as the pricing on all of the drugs that they are deciding that they're going to release for all of us diabetics?
Well, I'm probably, we're going to have a good conversation because I'm probably on the other end of the spectrum, being an inventor.
Oops.
I understand. I don't believe in usury pricing. Absolutely, but I understand if they've done the work, they've done the time, they've done the effort, they've done the money, they take the risk, they continue to take risk with, lawsuits and all kinds of ugly things that happen in that world. I understand that they should benefit from that. Now, at what level, I don't know. But I can tell you that I'm one of the few people. I always say, God bless Big Pharma, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. God bless the guys that came up with Medtronic with the insulin pump I've been on 20-some-odd years. Thank God for Dexcom. God bless Eli Lilly and company. I mean, I think, all the guys with all the medical devices that have been made available to us. And so I'm of the mindset that, I think if you can make it available to the masses, it makes sense to do that. And there's a lot of things that get in the way on pricing that sometimes you don't see. And I know that when you see the final end price, there's a lot of stuff that gets built through there. And, a lot of it's testing, a lot of it's insurance, a lot of it's, I don't know what their margins are on it, so I can't speak to that side. But, I'm a big believer in thank God they released another insulin. You know what I mean? It was you probably the same when you were younger. It was regular and NPH when I was growing up. Thank God for Humalog and all the other wonderful, options that are available out there right now. So, I don't know. I'm probably a little bit in a different camp than a lot of people, but
that's what creates the conversation, Bob.
Yeah.
I too am thrilled from what I've seen from the days of taking droplets of urine into a test tube and then burning my hand as a chemical reaction. So now I'm a burned diabetic.
It was kind of fun to watch, though.
It was. That was like my excitement. I led a very sheltered life. But, I read about artificial pancreas. I read about all of these fabulous things that might be. Mm-hmm. Who's going to pay for this? Who's going to have that kind of money to be able to pay for that? We can't get Medicare to pay for the CGMs. And if this is a sign of things to come, I personally am concerned because they put me in a category now where I am paying $10K a year out of pocket to stay on a CGM. My pump supplies, which used to be covered 100%, they had to take a bite of that too. So now I'm responsible for 20%, but that's still, they get a lot of money from us. Mm-hmm. And I get excited about all of these new things, but geez, if I can't get a CGM, what possibility, unless, I go into business with you in the invention business and we strike it really, really, really rich.
Well, let me tell you, I started out as a landscaper pushing lawnmowers for 30 years, so
I think it's too late for me on that chore, Bob. I don't schlep and I don't push.
Well, I was a kid growing up when I'd use the needle, 14 days in a row because I couldn't afford to buy other needles.
Yeah.
Okay.
When's the last time you changed the lancet?
You're supposed to change those?
Thank you. I don't know why they send me hundreds of those. Okay, I could wallpaper with those. But anyway, all right, Bob, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking your time and speaking with me today. And I wish you all of the best. And I'd like to say that if any of my fellow Type 1s would like to be a co-host with me, let me tell you how easy it is. Send me an email. just like Bob did, and you're going to send it to Bonnie at BonnieSher.com. I will answer you, and we will get a date. Bob, you take good care of yourself, and I hate to end this segment, but it's time for me to step up on my soapbox.
Thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate yours. Well, we're 2 for 2 today with 2 great guests, I must say, and it is now time for my shout out and my shout down. First, it is almost Veterans Day, and so my shout out today is to all of our veterans, all of those dedicated men and women who have served or are serving in the armed forces. And I really do believe that they deserve more than just one day of our attention and more than one day of our celebration. But luckily, there is an organization called the USO, and it is their mission to do just that. So I would like to ask you on behalf of my father, who was a military man for 35 years, and on behalf of my son, who is also a member of the military, to please contact the USO and see what you can do to help. Now, for my shout down, there are individuals, and shame on these individuals, and they're part of the diabetes online community, who have found it their mission to belittle and darn near libel people who are speaking from their hearts and speaking from their souls, either about their own disease or the disease of their children or of their parents. And I've watched this now for 48 years that I've been a diabetic, with one faction arguing another one's technique or value. Don't you all understand that in order to get an answer, everything is valuable? Everyone is valuable. So I'm going to take my cue from Joan Rivers and say to those people, grow up and quit it. Well, that's my show for today. And I hope you'll return next week with another show. Or I'm going to have another show, and it's going to be another 15 minutes and a trip down the world of celebrity, the world of boomer life, and the world of type 1 diabetes. Until then, please visit BonnieSher.com. Follow the #1 Bonnie Sher on Twitter, and like the Bonnie Sings Lena Facebook fan page. I want to thank my guests one more time today for joining me, and I do have a special note of thanks to Corey Bone from Crown and Anchor Jewelry for supplying me today with this beautiful necklace, which is made of, let's see, long hand-wired wrapped freshwater pearls with gold vermeil accent beads in exchange for this promotional consideration. Visit them online at Anchor and Crown Jewelry on Etsy. And for my friends, old and new, you are no doubt aware of my close connection and friendship with the late, great Sammy Davis Jr. He was my mentor, and he was my friend. And if by chance there are speakers in heaven, Sammy, this one's for you. Take us out.
whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, whether I find a place in this world or never belong. I gotta be me. I gotta be me. What else can I be but what I am? I want to live, not merely survive. And I won't give up this dream of life that keeps me alive. I gotta be me. I gotta be me. The dream that I see makes me what I am. That faraway prize, a world of success, is waiting for me if I heed the call. I won't settle down, won't settle for less, as long as there's a chance that I can have it all. I'll go it alone, that's how it must be. I can't be right for somebody else if I'm not right for me. I gotta be free.